Hey, I'm Trandal, and with the reveal of Eternal Legend update, I think it's finally time for me to talk about Last Epoch. I love action RPG, and I played anything that remotely got close to Diablo, from Path of Exile to Wolsen, so without waiting any longer, let's give this game some credit. The first thing that you will probably see will be his Steam page. Unlike most of its competitors, this game doesn't come free. It's either €30 or $35 for the first available package that will allow you access to a beta, because yes, the game is still in beta, or you can pay a range from those €30 up to $1,000 if you want to be the basically founder of the game. There is still the presence of an in-game shop that will sell only cosmetical items and that will work to funding the release of any other DLC or update that will be scheduled for the game in the future. Right now it doesn't sell anything since it's still in beta, but as soon as the game hit the 1.0 it will be open and with item to buy. So with this in mind, let's move to what is the bread and butter of this game, the combat. The games feel great to play, even if it's still in beta. It happened to me that the autopath had some issue from time to time, thinking about its life decision and making me moving back and forth for a while. That happened like twice in a whole playthrough, so it's not a big of a deal, honestly. The class choice resemble a lot Diablo 2, and at the creation of your character you could choose 1 out of 5 different classes. These will only choose the base style of your play, because any of these classes can choose a set of different mastery that will drastically change how you play the game. Your character will have access to a set of base ability and to a set of master ability. The master ability are related to what do you actually decide to specialize with, and very different from one another. Every ability will earn experience point while you are around and can level up 20 times. Every time that they level up, they gain a skill point and you can spend those skill points in their talent tree. Other than specializing your character with a set of ability and specializing those ability with different variation, you can also choose to invest your actual character level into a talent tree. Every talent tree is different from every base class and from the mastery that you pick. You can choose 1 out of 3 masteries. This will unlock the whole talent tree for that mastery and will keep the other mastery tree locked until 50%. You can still invest points in the other mastery talent, but you will not be as good as you actually have that mastery, which is pretty neat. If you change your mind halfway through, you can still change your ability very easily. When you level up, you will raise the lower level that an ability can be. For example, if you are level 1, the lowest level of an ability that you can have will be 1. But when you reach the end game, the lowest level of an ability that you can have will be around 14-16, which will still be worse than a fully leveled ability, but on the other hand will allow you to experiment without investing a ton of time. This cannot be said for the mastery, because every mastery can be chosen only once, and if you want to change that, you have to roll another character entirely. The talent point that you will invest in the mastery tree will unlock you the different spell for that mastery, which means that you will not be able to unlock all the spell of the other mastery, only the first 1 or 2 depending on the class. Now that we talk about what your character is, let's talk about what your character wear. As you can expect, you will have an inventory slot to fill, and the item that you will drop will be from normal to rare, with the addition of the exalted item, unique, set and legendary. At the moment, there is just a handful of legendary items that are still very powerful, and there is not legendary item. That the normal, magic, rare and exalted item are randomly generated. Those are the items that every monster that you kill will drop, and they will have a maximum of 4 bonuses. These have different power tier that will go from tier 1 to tier 7, but you can access the most powerful version of this tier, tier 6 and 7, only by dropping them. That's why the most rare item that you can drop are called exalted item, because they have the tier 6 or tier 7 modifier. These will not for forbid you to craft something, because you can still drop or dismantle item to get crafting material and infuse an item with a bonus of your choice that can go up to tier 5. This whole crafting process is very solid. I often found myself dropping an exalted item and tinker with it, adding or removing something that I didn't want to, or creating a new item entirely, taking a base item that I actually wanted and start tinkering with that. Another choice that I truly liked is the integrated loot filter, because you will never know how much a loot filter is useful when it's integrated in a game, especially if it's this good. You can basically filter for anything in the game. Since every item that you drop will be automatically identified, you can set up your loot filter to show you only the item that you actually care, from the base that you want to tinker with to the exalted item that you want to dismantle because you need the crafting material. The configuration of the loot filter is very easy and very granular. You can choose literally whatever you want. Another inventory slot to fit for your character are the idol. The idol are a specific item that you drop, and they give you a set of passive bonus that will be all permanently active on you as long as you have the idol equipped. And as you can imagine, dropping good item is fairly rare. As soon as I reached the end game, I found myself grinding quite a bit for even a minor upgrade on my character. I found that the character loot system is in a good balance, because it's good enough to tinker with, but it's not hard to access like Grim Dawn or Path of Exile, where you have to use other software in order to even understand what your character is doing. I'm looking at you, Path of Building. Now let's move to the progress and the endgame. As you can imagine, the story can be safely ignored. The developer tried to make me care about what was happening on my screen, but I was more interested on what was dropping on the ground than what a person was telling me in a chat box. The whole game is voice acted though, which is very important and helped a lot with the digestion of the story. Near the end of the campaign, you will have access to the core of the endgame, which is the ecosystem. In this echo, you will find several islands that will make you face a randomly generated map or arena, where you can find enemy, loot and boss fight. And completing map after map, you will restore the time integrity for those islands, and eventually you will face the specific boss of that area. Once you defeat the boss, you will have to choose 1 out of 3 passive that will be unlocked on your character, and a path to a new island will be open. Unfortunately, all the progress that you do on this ecosystem will not be shared through all your character, but the boss fight, on the other hand, are very good. They could seem a bit spongy, but it's good because you will have time to digest the mechanic and everything. A little critique that I found with the loot system is that you will only have to choose between 4 bonus on every piece of item that you wear, and only 2 of those can be resistances. Unlike other game where you have only 3 or 5, here you have a lot of them to cover, and having only 2 slot related to the resistances across all the item, it's very limiting about what you can actually wear. So I found myself having basically only resistance as suffix on my item, because I didn't have choice to put anything else. The aesthetic part of the game is gorgeous, the environment is great and pleasant to look, and surprisingly I really liked the underwater section of the game, where the whole architecture and ambience remember me a lot about World of Warcraft. And even if the game is very detailed, you can always read what is happening on your screen. You will understand with color or sound what is about to hit you, what element, and even if you die, you will have a sort of recap of what is the damage that kill you. It will recap only the last instance of damage, so you could have taken 99% of your life in lightning damage and get hit by 1 physical attack, and it will report you that you died from a physical source of damage, but it's still better than nothing, and I really appreciated it. In conclusion, the game is very solid, the foundations are very promising, but it needs to be mentioned that it's still in beta. There are a lot of change planned for the future, the whole rework of several classes, the last one was the Primalist, and there are still masteries that have not been released. There is still a lot going on for this game, but if this is the base to work with, I can say that it's definitely a solid game. Thanks for sticking with me and see you next time!